Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event. With your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
The Guru back again for UFC 292. Aljamain Sterling defending his bantamweight title against the Sugar Show Sean O'Malley. The hype train, is it real? Is it not? We're going to find out. We've also got your strawweight title defense from Zhang Weili against Amanda Lemos. Interesting matchup between two ladies that are absolutely violent in a division not necessarily known for its violence. So this card, I mean, fairly stacked top to bottom. We lost a couple fights throughout the past couple weeks, but all in all, the card is still pretty fire. So I know I'm excited. TV, how are you feeling, bud?
oh man, I'm feeling good, ready to rock. We got a couple
From
title
Boston,
fights
baby.
from Boston. I'm shipping
And
up.
hey, nobody to introduce. So we can basically get right down into it. No.
Well, before we do that, the one thing that I'm going to ask from our amazing viewers, if you could please leave a like on the video, if you could please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Appreciate everyone in the chat so much. But, the one thing before we get started, that's all that we ask. It's free, doesn't cost you a thing. The best bets, the best guests, and always free. So without further ado.
The first time they're back in Boston since October 2019. Which was so funny. I remember Dominic Reyes getting that headliner with Chris Weidman, and I'm like, this is not gonna go well. And
Hell yeah.
Yeah, really, really funny stuff. But dude, 5 years, it's just like, phew, or 4 years anyway.
Hell yeah. I mean, look at that. These ladies are badass. The co-main is fire.
Yes,
love that. Thanks for joining the chat. And hell yeah, thank you, Daz. Appreciate you always supporting everyone in the community. Dirty Reg 22. Yes, it is. As we're all agreeing on that co-main, just as good as the main event. And Mushroom, thank you so much, because that's what we need the people to do.
He's smashing that like he's smashing those lunches, boy. God
let's
damn.
Go.
What's
Hell
going
yeah.
on?
The GOAT. Oh yeah. So here we go. What the people came for. It's the main event. It's the bantamweight title fight. We got the Funk Master, Aljamain Sterling versus Sugar Sean O'Malley, the Sugar Show. Man, I mean, combined between them, only 4 total losses in the UFC, and we're talking about some high-level competition. I mean, Aljamain Sterling.
Wait a minute. I'm pretty sure Sean O'Malley's undefeated. If you
that's
ask
right.
him, he tells you he's undefeated. So
that's right. Hold on, I take it back. Let's go. 4 likes. Hell yeah. Let's get to 100, baby. Keep it rolling. Appreciate all you guys. But so what do you think here, man? I mean, we got Aljamain Sterling at minus 258, Sean O'Malley at plus 210. So Sugar comes in. I mean, he's going to be 6 years younger. He's got the 4-inch height advantage. He's got the 1-inch reach advantage. Guru's getting the party started. I mean, I think if
the
this
Irish
fight,
Crickets.
The Irish Crickets, baby. If this fight takes place from distance, I think Sugar is going to have some distinct advantages. I think he's better at feints, is going to have better cardio at distance as the fight goes on, and he should be able to land the cleaner shots at a higher volume. However, the very real fact of the matter is this is an MMA fight, and knowing that Aljamain Sterling is going to be going by tooth or nail to get to his wrestling game and get the jiu-jitsu going, he's going to be looking for the back takes. He's going to try to backpack, get the body triangle sunk in, and whether it's fishing for the rear naked choke, getting some dominant ground and pound, or making Sugar kind of just give up, that's going to be Aljo's game plan, right? Because if he just tries to play at distance here, I don't think it's going to go so well for him. I think at minus 258 here, knowing that Aljo is going to need to be a bit of a one-dimensional fighter to win the fight, I don't think that there's much value on the money line. I'm leaning towards Sugar as the pick here. It's just seeing some of the ways that Petr Yan got to the wrestling against O'Malley and how O'Malley was, pretty okay giving up his back, against a guy with bigger reach and more height than Yan. I think, Aljo's pretty well versed in securing some back takes. So Guru, what do you think? Is Aljo going to have some other paths to victory, or what do you think is going to happen here?
One of the things I think is extremely interesting is that you've seen throughout Aljamain's entire title run that he's never been like even like a minus 150 favorite. Like it's just hasn't happened. And all of a sudden the guy explodes to over minus 250 against a guy in Sugar Sean O'Malley who has just seen, like, sometimes with the hype of the UFC, these Conor McGregor type fighters, these Sean O'Malley type runs, sometimes it's just really hard to step in the way of fate. And Sugar just seems to have everything on his side. One thing I think is really interesting and possibly a little overblown is just Aljamain Sterling's success in wrestling, or to get to the wrestling. The dude throughout his career sports a 24% takedown accuracy, and that's including 5 against TJ Dillashaw, who had one arm, literally. So to me, not having a very high success with his wrestling is going to make this very difficult, because you see versus Henry Cejudo, first off, he goes like 4 of 14. So A, he's not even close to successful all of the time. And B, like, you've got somebody in Sugar who's much longer and much more explosive. Problem, of course, is if Aljo can get to the takedown, he probably won't need more than one to secure the round, let alone possibly a victory. However, I also think people are making it a foregone conclusion that if Aljo backpacks you, he's just going to sneak that choke in, and that's that. Corey Sandhagen got caught 30 seconds in, completely dry and just shocked, honestly. I'm not sure that he was working on his ground game the way that he is now. Sugar has an absolutely positively underrated BJJ game. It's just a fact. He's submitted Takanori Gomi in grappling. He's somebody that trains it all the time, but has never really had to use it. So the foregone conclusion that, oh, Aljo takes him down, he submits him in round 1, round 2, light work. Like, I don't think it's going to be that easy. And I think Sean knows that he literally has to fight like absolute hell and keep Sterling away from him. So what that looks like is very interesting. I think the price at plus 210 on Sugar is very interesting. I was able to get a play down on violence in this fight. I don't even know if any of you guys saw it. The line opened up at minus 120. Fight doesn't go the distance. That line now, do you have that line now, TB? That line now is, I believe, I'll tell you the under 3.5 is minus 150. So that's already telling you how much the line has changed. The
minus 225.
I have a ticket, and I'm going to show it to you guys. I have this ticket at the fight doesn't go the distance at minus 135.
He was begging me.
I tried to get him to play it. He wasn't interested at the time. So we got right. Yeah, it was a crazy. So I got minus 135. Fight doesn't go the distance. I have a unit and a half on that. I'm comfortable there. I think. I don't think necessarily the finish happens. And that's the other thing I've heard. Sorry. That's the other thing I've heard. That people are like, oh, Sugar Sean, he needs the KO in round 1 or 2. Why? I think he's somebody that carries power throughout. And I think if Aljamain gets tired or discouraged, tough weight cut even maybe, who knows? So Sugar Sean plus 210, certainly some interesting value.
Yeah, I think as the money line here, I'm going with Sugar at plus 210 here. I think Aljamain has plenty of ways to win the fight. Where my official pick on Fight Night goes, but as far as recommending a money line play here, I mean, the fact that I'm so up in the air about where my pick is, I'm taking Sugar at plus 210. I think that there's going to be some hindsight value there, as long as this doesn't end by submission in the first round. But like you said, and even Sean O'Malley's grappling coach fought Aljamain Sterling before, Mendez. So and he's a lot shorter and less athletic. So I feel like Sugar's
I don't take any credence into that. Yeah. You look at a guy like Ray Longo. Can Ray Longo like really fight? Like, I don't fucking know. Well, maybe 30 years ago. But the dude's a fucking genius. Just because you're a coach doesn't mean you have the ability your students have.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, what a good fucking fight.
It's gonna be great.
When does Aljo face somebody bigger? Like, everybody's like, oh, when does Sean face somebody his size? When does Aljo face somebody bigger than him?
That's true. It doesn't happen so often. And we're talking about how much weight that Aljo has to cut. I mean, Sugar cuts a lot of weight too. I think this is going to
Sugar,
be a
but
great
Sugar's
fight.
frame is much skinnier. Like to be
Mhm.
5'11" and still make bantamweight, like he's just way more slender. Um,
Yeah. All right.
Aljamain, like the fact that he's really just already ready to move up is just kind of like, I don't know if it's like a cop out, like if he loses, it's whatever, but it's kind of like a built-in excuse. It's like I was done with this anyway. Um, and to move up to 145, I'm excited to see what that looks like for him.
Yeah.
So
All right. So we're moving on. We got this fire co-main straw weight title fight.
oh wait, you know
Zhang
what?
Wei
I'm
Li.
sorry. Can I ask you one thing before we move on, buddy? Since it's just us, I'm sorry. Do you think obviously Sugar's money line is fair enough? Do you think that there's a world that he wins a decision, or you should just play the
Yes.
KO?
No. There's certainly he's gonna win the distance striking battle, and Aljo generally starts getting a little bit gassed out as the fight goes on. I mean, Sugar could totally win, like even if he's getting wrestled the first couple rounds, you could probably get a crazy live number. And then what if he just starts like stuffing the takedowns as the fight goes on and is able to win a bit more from distance? I know that's kind of asking a lot, but I could totally see it playing out. And yeah, I could totally see O'Malley winning in a multitude of ways.
Thank you. Sorry to keep you from breaking this one down.
All right. So once again, we got to give it the proper breakdown. All right. So here we go. We got the women's strawweight title fight. We got this banger of a co-main Magnum Zhang Wei Li versus Amanda Lemos. I'm gonna say Leona. Uh, so let's go. We got Zhang Wei Li is gonna be 2 years younger. They're the same height. Lemos is gonna have a 2-inch reach advantage. I mean, both these fighters are well versed. They've won by every single type of method. They're both explosive strikers from distance in the stand up. And both have some, pretty good grappling skills. I would say though, I think Zhang Wei Li is going to be a bit better defensively in the grappling and wrestling department. And I think that Lemos actually might be a little bit better defensively in the striking department. Um, at least until she gasses out. And that's where I think this fight, gets funky. If Lemos isn't getting a finish between round 1 and round 2, this fight is going to swing heavily into Zhang Wei Li's favor. And I think even early, Zhang Wei Li has plenty of ways where she can put her stamp on this fight. I mean, she's got plenty of volume. She's got offensive wrestling, and she's got, dynamic output in all realms. I do think that Lemos is liable to snatch up a submission, that she could potentially, catch Zhang Wei Li clean. But I don't think that her setups and combos are as clean as someone like Rose kind of baited Zhang Wei Li into that perfect setup head kick. I think Lemos is going to be a bit more reliant on her, just like her burst and her power in the pocket. I don't think it's going to be as sneaky. So I think Wei Li might be able to eat some of those shots and withstand that. And I think she's the rightful favorite. -310. I think she's going to win this fight, and I think it's going to be inside the distance. I think maybe a little bit later, but I wouldn't be surprised either way if she gets some wrestling going. I mean, that look, Amanda Lemos tapping to Jessica Andrade on the feet to a standing arm triangle. I mean, Zhang Wei Li might be even stronger than Jessica Andrade, and she's got a better offensive wrestling game plan at this point. And we've seen that she has a submission too. So yeah. So here we go. I mean, I really appreciate all you guys in the chat. So shout out. We got Camber, Amber in the house. Appreciate you, the cat mom. We got underdog by decision. Personal kryptonite needs to be by finish. Personally, appreciate all you guys in the chat here. And yes, here's the point. Wei Li has been working with the Hickman brothers, ADCC bronze medalist. That should be a big factor in her prep back at Bang Tao, the Hickman Bros gym. Yes, and there you go. And then she's been at a lot of gyms. What do you think of that, Zhang Wei Li? I like that she's been rounding out her game and kind of making improvements at each individual stop along the way.
Absolutely.
We've seen her keep adding to her game plan. So let me pass it off. I'm getting greedy
I think you're doing all right, especially without a guest. Listen, you see somebody in Zhang Wei Li who's like, again, also taking some of that time off. You see Amanda Lemos kind of chip at her. Oh, these champions, they take time off. They're holding up the division. I think you see somebody in Zhang Wei Li who is understanding exactly what it takes to be a champion, right? Like to understand, right? Because this is her second time around as champion, right? So she understands the media role. She's speaking English so well. What's up, brother? Like she's fucking awesome, and she's really coming into her own. You see somebody, Amanda Lemos, who, bro, I just feel like they fast track this shit. Like, I was just talking to TB off air about this. Like, first off, it was not that long ago. I mean, it literally a year and 4 months. Exactly. Two of the best wrestling coaches out there. Exactly. A year and 4 months ago, you had Amanda Lemos looking as bad as she's ever looked, standing choked by Jessica Andrade, looking the best that she's ever looked. You fast forward 16 months. What? I'm sorry. Jessica Andrade lost her last 3. Lemos fighting for the title. What? This sport is so fucking crazy. But okay, who'd she beat? Waterson Gomez, who hasn't won a fight since, before she was changed her name. And then she cut through Marina Rodriguez. Am I impressed? Maybe a little bit. I did pick Marina in that fight. At the same time, it was like, do we not think Zhang Weili would fucking cut right through Marina Rodriguez? I mean, take her down and finish her within a round because Marina Rodriguez is a turtle on her back, right? Like, so am I impressed by anything that Lemos has done? Still, no. Did she even beat Angela Hill? How far back do we want to go? Her two losses are both by finish. Jessica Andrade round 1 and Leslie Smith up a weight class, but Leslie fucking Smith in round 2, standing elbows. That is not somebody that has the derision and the heart and the cardio to go 5 championship rounds with a world-class fighter that is rounding out some of her jagged edges. Her only chance is to catch Weili because that's the only weakness Weili's really shown us is getting kicked, is finished early by Rose. And again, I've rewatched that second Rose fight a bunch of times. I don't know. I still think she kind of won.
She won.
Exactly, right? So like
that was the only pick I got wrong on that card. I'm still sorry.
I remember. That was the best shit, bro. That was the fucking best. Almost as good as we're sitting live at 281 and I tell TB, I go, TB, it's Zhang by sub is plus 1100. She's going to submit her. And he goes, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, bro, I'm about to bet this shit. He's like, all right, dude, do your thing. Sub. I honestly think she might get another sub here, honestly, at plus 500. I think it's interesting because I like you said, violence in this fight, and again, in a strawweight fight, is usually strawweight's not known for violence. Look at these props, guys. Will the fight go the distance? No, at minus 330. They are expecting violence. And not just because Lemos is so violent or Zhang is so violent. It's literally Lemos does not have the cardio to finish a 5-minute fight. So she's going to have to put Weili out of there or she's getting put out of there. So I kind of like maybe a fight doesn't start even round 4 type prop, which is, I believe, at minus 168. You can also get Zhang Weili round 1, 2, or 3 plus 100. And that might be an interesting way to take a minus 310 favorite and put them to a plus money position.
Hell yeah. I like that a lot. I do think that violence plays out here. And Zhang Weili inside the distance is minus 150. Whew. So
if we're thinking violence, why not cut out the championship rounds and take the person who we think is going to win? And then you can take your grandma's couch cushion dart throw, cover your ass on Amanda Lemos round 1, Amanda Lemos round 2, because I don't think that she's got a chance outside of that.
Let's go. Bring it on,
Appreciate
Jared.
that, brother. And the mayor of Flavortown, Avi. I love that.
Oh, yeah. Talk about Flavortown. So I think also one of the biggest things. So you talk about how great the Hickman Bros coaches are as our final point here and why submission is totally live. You got someone like Loma Lukbunmi who's training under the Hickman Bros. What did she do her last time out? She goes out and gets like her first submission, been rapidly improving her own wrestling game too. I think, Lemos is going to provide those opportunities. Let's get it done. So love the idea, Guru. Let's let's keep on rolling here. We got the featured event. We got the welterweight matchup between Neil Magny and Ian the Future Machado, Garry Machado.
Yeah, well, hang
Neil
on,
the
hang on. Oh,
Haitian,
wait, so,
the
no.
Haitian.
No, yeah, thank you. Literally, I feel so bad for everybody's like audio right now. I'm so sorry, but this is what we do.
It's the Haitian sensation.
Yes. How dare you not say
I'm
the
sorry.
Haitian sensation?
I was like scrabbling, like I like forgot how what it was. I was trying to pull it up real quick, so I had to jump to Garry Machado. Almost messed up. I went to put Machado first. It was almost a disaster, but
it's the other way around. You're fucking dumb as fuck. Why
Am
the
I?
fuck would he move his last name to his middle name? You fucking jamoker. He obviously just took his wife's last name and put it as his middle name.
Oh shit.
It's just, you know what I'm saying?
On UFC stats,
and let me make this very clear. Anybody on planet Earth who thinks like Ian Garry's like a beta or a loser for taking his wife's fucking last name, go look at her, you fucking goober. Oh my God. I would do whatever she asked. Thank you.
There we go. Moving on.
Respectfully.
Respectfully. It's Ian, however you want to say it. It's the future. The future's now. Why is Neil Magny taking this fight on short notice?
Because he's a company man. Dana White loves him. He wants to get paid. He's got a good show money to begin with, so I'm sure you get a little cash infusion to that. He's a consummate professional, ready for these moments. I mean, he's a near Hall of Famer, right? I mean, just like a Hall of Famer and like just like what he's done for the UFC, not necessarily what actually he has accomplished a lot in terms of fight time and finishes. So in his own right, a modern day Hall of Famer. Why not add another feather to your cap here and do the UFC a favor and lend them your awesome name and let Ian continue to build his. It's just an absolutely perfect position. And I hate to say it, but like I literally outside of Tom Aspinall knee Alexander Rakic bullshit. I'm sorry.
Jeez. All right.
Outside of some sort of freak injury. Thank you. Outside of some sort of freak injury, Ian Garry is as close to a lock as you're going to find in MMA. And somehow you got him sub -300. You sick fuck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I pulled the trigger super early. The second they announced the matchup and DraftKings got the lineup, it was like -295. -295, and I parlayed it to a fight coming up. But if you were following me, then you've already seen the play because I posted it. So, but anyways, I still think just if you got a parlay this week, just throw him in there. It'll be fun. Just do your thing.
Yeah, I think he's about as safe as a parlay pieces as anybody or anything, and that's why I think you've seen the line balloon up to honestly where it belongs in a -500 range. It's just whether just especially on short notice, it's just really how he does it, right? Neil Magny, only as you see there, is really he's been knocked out, I guess 3 times as you have that written. The only one I remember is. I mean, it just hasn't been in a very long time. He lost in round 4 to Santiago Ponzinibbio, round 1 to Lorenz Larkin, and something not on the UFC level. So it's been a very, very long time. So does Ian Machado Garry, does he find the off switch? I've heard a couple people say, oh, a sneaky play might be him by submission. Him by sub is like +500 or not necessarily juicy enough for me for a guy that has only one sub win in his career. But I mean, I guess it could be juicy enough if it hits. It's actually +600. So,
nah,
maybe grandma's couch cushion, but certainly nothing tracked or serious. I would sooner recommend like an over 1.5 or a him by decision than a submission, but I don't really feel confident about any of it.
No,
Do you feel confident about any of it?
Not necessarily, but inside the distance is -135. I mean, I think that's fair enough. I think he could do it either way.
It's just like he's so funny, right? He has 2 round 1 finishes, 1 round 3 finish, and 2 decisions. I'm curious. Maybe get a look at how much. Oh my god. Yeah, no. So the way my bank account is set up, I can't actually show you any of that. Sorry, Justin.
Can we go over 2.5? Sure, we could.
Listen. I think could it?
Good.
I think you mean in a betting perspective. Can't you get what's the line on 1.5?
It's like it's almost like 50. 2.5 is like 50.
It's plus 100 is 2.5. What's fight to start round 3? You know, I don't. You know what? If it starts round 3, you feel good about it going the rest of the way. I don't trust it. I just don't. I just don't know how Neil Magny's going to look or feel. He's a professional. He's going to make weight, but at what expense?
Yeah. Also, I will say, like, Mr. Machado, Garry, whatever, you know, however you want to arrange it is fine.
No, it's not. It's literally not fine. Can we call you BT scouting? BT? No, it's not. It matters. Sequence matters.
My apologies. Did I write it incorrectly on the slide?
Yes.
Is that what I did? I'm sorry. So I'd like to apologize. But what I'd also like to say is that I could see this fight ending inside the distance for him here. And I think that, you know, he called out Magny and didn't get the matchup at first. Now he's getting what he asked for. Generally, when he sees something on tape, he's a very intelligent guy. I think he's going to find a way to find a finish.
Okay, so what is him by finish?
Minus 135 on DraftKings.
Well, I bet I can. Let me see if I can get something better. You little. It's actually worse on fucking FanDuel somehow. So,
all right. So we'll move on here. We got another short notice matchup.
You little sloppy Joe.
You sloppy Joe. Oh man, we got Demonsta Blackshear.
I don't think so.
Yeah, on UFC stats, they gave us the
really.
Right, yes, that's main card versus Mario Bautista.
Wow.
Mario.
They're like, you know what? They're like, you know what? You're paying for this shit anyway. You're paying what, $75 for this pay-per-view anyway? We'll just sneak one of these fights in there.
Well, who doesn't want to see DeMonster versus Luigi's brother?
It just doesn't. I mean, make this no, because you can't make this the headlining prelim and then move Chris Weidman and Brad Tavares to the pay-per-view like you should and like they belong. Like it's like fucking UFC. Anyway.
All right. Anyway, so we got Mario Bautista coming in at minus 205. Damon Blackshear coming off the third twister in UFC history and on 1 week notice.
Last week.
Yes.
Last fucking week.
At plus 170. This ain't Jose Johnson anymore, Damon. Stepping up against Mario Bautista, who very much can hold his own in the wrestling and should be able to win the striking exchanges on the feet here. He's the one, you know, that's been preparing for this, or at least a specific matchup this weekend. I know Damon's got a little bit of momentum right now, but him cutting back down to 135 again this week, that's definitely, not making me feel so hot, I would say. So I'm gonna take Bautista. I think at minus 205, he's gonna present I think that this fight is probably just going to go the distance. Damon's going to find a way to hang on, and Bautista is just going to be able to outpoint and out wrestle him. But Damon's never been finished. I think he'll be able to hold on here. And Mario Bautista by decision. Don't have a line on it yet. Matchup.
What the fuck? Yeah, why doesn't DraftKings have a fucking line? That's in stats. Absolutely.
Because the matchup just got made.
Okay, anyways. But all right. So I'm going to pull up Bet365 because I'm fairly certain they're not only going to have a line but props for it. Let's see.
Well, what's your breakdown on this fight?
My breakdown is you've got low T. Okay, they at least have lines on it. We've got Mario Bautista minus 225 and Damon Blackshear plus 187. Oh, you already said that. But the point is that Mario Bautista is somebody that was preparing for Cody Garbrandt, is somebody that is honestly, Damon Blackshear just doesn't really have the skill set to hang with Mario Bautista. Mario Bautista is extremely well-rounded, and like you said, going to be willing to use the wrestling. And Damon Blackshear is somebody with, all 5 losses in his career are by decision. And he just so happens to be fighting the decisionator, Mario Bautista, who's somehow coming off 3 round 1 finishes in a row. But generally, decisionating Jay Perrin, decisionating Jinsu Sun, decisionating on the regional scene, somebody that I could see at the very least you can get, I'm sure, Mario Bautista and over 1.5 at something way closer to even money, if not plus money. So that would be the play that I'm looking at.
Nice. I like that.
Just don't have any factual evidence to bank that on, because they won't give us a line, those dirty, sloppy Joes.
Nice. So we got our next matchup here. Moving right along. We got another bantamweight banger. We got Marlon Cheeto Vera versus Pedro, the young Punisher Munoz.
He should just be the old Punisher.
He should just be the Punisher now, right?
Yeah.
Pedro the Punisher Munoz.
It's actually a better nickname to begin with.
Right? Like, why does he have to be the young Punisher? Like, that just sounds like, he's picking on young people.
Sounds like Wander Franco.
Yeah. Oh, God. All right. So, anyways, Marlon Cheeto Vera at -192, Munoz at +160, the Punisher. Cheeto, he's going to be 6 years younger, going to be 2 inches taller with a 5.5-inch reach advantage. He's got 5 more knockouts. He's got 1 more submission win, and he's only ever lost by decision. But wait, Pedro Munoz has only ever lost by decision. Is this fight destined to go the distance? We've got Marlon Cheeto Vera. I mean, one of the toughest dudes we've ever seen. And, he can survive anybody's grappling and anybody's striking. But the question is, can he outpoint Pedro Munoz? I think so. I think, he's got the size advantage. We saw that Munoz is leg kick dependent. Cheeto is great at checking kicks and using his own kicks. And I think he also has the size to get inside, use his elbows, and really hurt Munoz, who's willing to just run forward and get into a brawl. So I think that's where Munoz gets into trouble. And you can't just sit at distance and leg kick Vera. That's not a sustainable game plan. So I'm going to take Cheeto Vera here. He's the second leg of the parlay of the crazy line I got with Ian Garry. But other than that, I just think that there's going to be some hindsight value on Cheeto Vera. I think that normally he might have been like -300 if he didn't lose to Sandhagen first. Like if he took him like after the Cruz fight or something like that. I mean, like, can I remind you that
him after the Cruz fight?
Like right after the Cruz fight?
Like
I'm saying
after the Cruz fight.
No, I'm saying Cheeto taking Munoz.
Okay.
It would have been a wider line. So
yes, I agree completely.
Yes, because especially, and then you see Munoz getting, even though he gets Cruz in trouble early, he can't get his game going over long periods of time against more well-developed strikers with layers of counters and different levels of attacks. So I like Cheeto, body work, distance management, checking kicks and throwing his own, and ultimately he might finish him.
I was getting a little nervous myself. I'm like, oh man, is Cheeto like too low output? Like, is he not gonna damage Pedro? But again, like the way that you talk about it, it's like anytime Pedro's gonna try to get close to him, he's gonna get fucking battered. And Marlon, I think after the bad taste of maybe the worst split decision I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, that's the most egregious, ridiculous decision. I mean, since the RDA Felder fight. I mean, just like you're not watching the fight. Marlon got just taken to task by Corey Sandhagen. He just didn't have nearly the output at all. He was a shell of himself. He wasn't as violent where he needed to be. And Corey just was way too technical and difficult to read for Cheeto. He had no idea where to counter. Pedro is not that guy. Pedro doesn't have those weapons. Pedro doesn't have that speed. Pedro doesn't have the wrestling. There's not there. The threat is not nearly the same. Marlon Vera on his best night should put away Pedro. I kind of think you got to take like a grandma's couch cushion type play on just the under 2.5 at like plus 260 or some crazy number they're giving you. Because yeah, you could take Cheeto by finish, and that's probably what he does if there is a finish. It's just like, I don't know, why not protect yourself on both sides just in case some banana peel bullshit. And listen, if Pedro can do anything right, it is crack, even though he only has 4 KO wins.
Yeah,
he does kind of hit hard for a guy with not a lot of knockouts. He swings hard, I should say.
Right. It's just when you're one of the people that's connecting on over 100 significant strikes against Frankie Edgar and not putting him out at this stage, like, what does that say about what power you actually have?
No, none.
If there was like, he should almost be like able to cut down to 125, and I think he would have maybe had more of a championship type of run.
That's an interesting point. I wonder if he could have made it.
Yeah. Anywho, we will go on to
6. Yeah, interesting.
On to our next fight, especially 64.5 inch reach. I mean, come on.
Small.
Please, if you haven't done so already, really appreciate everyone here in the chat. Awesome analysis, adding a lot to the show. Make sure you let us know what your best bet is. And if you haven't already, please throw a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps out so much, and it's free. Doesn't cost you a thing, and it helps us out a lot. So hopefully it's the least you could do. Really appreciate it. Let's move right along. We got our middleweight matchup here. It's Chris Weidman at plus 220 versus Brad Tavares at minus 270. The All-American versus the All-Hawaiian. I
like it.
Yeah, not bad, right?
I mean, except Hawaiian is in America, but it's still funny.
It's not part of the continental. No, just kidding.
It's not part. The only America I accept is one with 48 states. If you're not part of us, you don't get to come in.
God, no, it's seriously, shout out. A lot of bad stuff going on.
Yeah, seriously. Jesus, I almost bought one of those shirts.
Yeah, no, I feel terrible. So, hope, All right, we'll move to the fight. Got the All-American, the lose by knockout artist, Chris Weidman. All 6 of his career losses by knockout. And Brad Tavares, 4 knockout losses of his own. What's the fight to end by knockout here?
Probably minus 600.
Yeah. Yeah, so we
let's see.
Exact
method of victory. What the fuck? Exact method of victory. Minus 110.
Yeah, for the fight to end by knockout, there's a 50% chance. I would say so. That sounds pretty solid.
I mean, you could get plus 110 by decision, and that's really it, right? Because Chris Weidman is a BJJ black belt, and he's a fantastic submission artist. I just don't think that that's where it ends up. So I just like, can Brad knock out Chris is really the question, right?
And what's up with Chris's leg? What's going to happen when he really tests it out there?
Jesus,
we didn't even really touch on that yet, which is kind of like the biggest.
Been 2 years. First, I heard it was okay, the leg. Then I heard he needed multiple surgeries for multiple complications with the leg, and now he's back 2 years later. Like, it was like a lot of radio silence, and now he's back.
Is this one of those I want to prove to myself that I can do? So I totally get people betting Brad Tavares and picking Brad Tavares, and my pick is Brad Tavares. But it just feels kind of gross playing minus 270, especially when, like, if we're getting like Chris Weidman, motivated and able to hold up to the chin test of Brad Tavares, like maybe plus 220 looks a little silly. But
I just don't. The other problem, like, you have to look back at his last win versus Omari Akhmedov. He wins round 1 and 3. He loses round 2. It's a sloppy, close fight that he has to gut out and wrestle, and stay on top. Brad Tavares has some of the best takedown defense in the division, and he's not somebody easily controlled either. And you're going to have Eric Nixick in the corner. Other than Brad's own chin himself, he really, really should be fine. But that is the problem in taking this fight. like, or betting on this fight at minus 270, it's like you're betting against two guys that you really don't have any idea what their durability is going to be and what shape they're going to look in. I just can't imagine Chris looks good. My thought process is like, if I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of a world-class athlete with a shattered leg that, may never walk again, what better goal to have than to get back to the octagon, just because like that will mean that your leg is perfectly fine again. Like, so it's like it's an even bigger goal than just the specific fixing of your leg. So for him to do this is, I think, the ultimate goal. And to lay the gloves down in Boston, I think, I don't know, does he lay him down? Will he ever retire? Does he think that he can win and then just turn it around and come to MSG? Like, what the fuck does he actually think? Guys like him and Luke Rockhold have these title aspirations and then they get fucking demolished. So just a lot of narrative coming into this fight with a line kind of built around those narratives as well. I really think that minus 110 fight to end by knockout either way is very interesting. It's just a problem that it could very well go the distance as well. Over 2.5 minus 110, under 2.5 minus 120. Yeah, two guys that are really fragile that, at this stage of their career aren't necessarily finishing people either. So it's just like,
right,
who's going to break first?
And what if they just don't? You know what? The more I think about, I'm looking at some stuff on Instagram here. I see Chris Weidman. He looks like to be in fine shape. I see a couple things of him. I know, but I see a couple things of him hitting the bag. Like, he doesn't look like someone whose leg was, like completely displaced fracture and like if you didn't know any better, you could be fooled by.
But can he even take healthy Chris Weidman coming in? Forget the Uriah Faber fight. He just beat Omari Akhmedov. Is he taking down, holding down Brad Tavares and not getting knocked out? Like, is that still happening? Are we still sure?
Right.
I guess he was picking versus Uriah Hall, which, if he doesn't shatter his leg, he probably would win against Uriah Hall, because we've seen how bad Uriah Hall is off getting from. I did that twice today, from getting up off the ground.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. If you're going to bet Tavares at minus 270, you might as well go donate your money. So we'll move on to our next fight. We got HoboCop, Gregory Rodriguez versus.
Well, hang on 1 second.
Well, hold on 1 second. Hold on.
Chris Weidman by knockout is plus 750. That's bananas. Anyway, thank you. Sorry. Go. Fight where somebody's going to die.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got Gregory Rodriguez, HoboCop, at minus 355 versus Dennis Talulian. It makes me think of like the Tula Rula Tura from like the Come On Eileen. Like, that part in the song. No, you don't know that.
What song are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about.
You don't know Come On Eileen.
Who are you coming on? What are you doing?
Oh my God. Okay, Guru's gonna have to go do a little cultural research, and it probably kind of is like that if you look back at the song. Anyways, classic song.
Are you talking about? Who sings
classic song? It's like a one-hit wonder type of deal, yeah. But it gets like played at like all like all the big events, man. Come on.
Right? What big events do you go to, TB?
I don't know.
Tell me the last big event you were at.
Like weddings and stuff. I've heard of the weddings. Come on, Eileen. Everyone gets dancing. Anyways, HoboCop.
Anybody in the chat gonna like defend me or somehow come to TB's rescue here, because this is ridiculous.
Anyone, please. I got HoboCop here. And if he doesn't use his grappling, then he really is the stupidest person we've ever seen.
But that's the problem, though. Talk about a sloppy, dirty, disgusting fight. This is what you do. You take the two slop fests in Rodriguez and Brad Tavares, and you take your grandma's couch cushion and you parlay them together, because you're guaranteed to lose. Because somebody's going to shit in that apple pie. They have to, because Gregory Rodriguez is somebody with low fight, like just unbelievably low fight IQ. You cannot trust him. And after getting absolutely starched in his last fight, you've got to consider, like, is his chin going to continue to deteriorate? How does he look after getting absolutely smoked 7 months ago by Bruno Ferreira? So, you look at somebody in Dennis Talulian who is a one-trick pony, like they're a one-hit wonder.
I'm sorry, Guru. I win. I'm 3 for 3 right now. The people are coming to my defense. Okay.
Yeah, all right, fine.
You need to go do some fucking
literally,
research.
Dennis Talulian is one-dimensional. Like, those guys are one-hit wonders. All right, all he can do is box. Problem is Hobocop could very well give him the absolute type of fight he needs. And he's not even necessarily the type of guy that when he gets rocked, he just starts wrestling. He just starts swanging and banging. So I have no idea what's going to happen. The books think the fight's going to go under 1.5 at -200. So I'm just completely and utterly not interested. A lot of people I respect are parlaying Gregory Rodriguez like he's the safest thing since sliced bread. Maybe they're just trying to give him a win because he's a fun fan favorite and exciting fighter, but fuck me, I don't know. Of course, Gregory Rodriguez is the pick, but in this economy, TV.
No shot. You have to play submission. It's like it's such better value than playing the money line. And if he's not wrestling, I hate the idea of playing Rodriguez. So the fact
it has to be submission. No, I love that.
Rodriguez submission plus 225.
And look at his stats. Talulian's been only knocked out one time. He doesn't have a chin issue. The problem is he's hurt and taken down, and he's been submitted 4 times. That's genius.
That's it.
Love it. Take grandma's couch cushion, Rodriguez by sub. Let's throw some darts at round 1, round 2 submission, and let's cash. Let's cash big on some very light betting. That's what I like. Yes, TV. Fuck
Dennis Talulian, hey, come on. Dennis Talulian, hey, come on. You got to look it up, Guru. Okay, so
somebody send it to me on Twitter or something. Oh, the boy.
Let's go, Brian.
Hey, listen, we've been in there 2 weeks in a row, right, bud? Let's go. Let's keep it going. Let's make that 3. I always loved the feeling that I might get included in that, and then when we get included and the caliber of people we get included with is always just as a nice thing. So I really appreciate you for doing that, Brian.
Just want to give a shout out. He pops around and tallies up top YouTube cappers out there.
Over 30 of them every week. Nobody's paying him to do nothing. Just out of the goodness of his heart, supporting everybody. Just awesome.
Amazing community we got.
Give him a follow if you're somehow not following him. Pull up his Twitter again.
Oh yeah, it's this is his handle, I think, XBL on Twitch.
Yes.
So appreciate you, man. Appreciate all you do. So here we go. We got our next fight here. It's actually the second, but it's the first one we're gonna break down. the tough matchups, the Ultimate Fighter, the final, the lightweight final. We got
TV.
What happened?
No, it's nothing. I won't bust your balls.
Yeah. Fuck watching the Ultimate Fighter. I didn't watch that shit.
I love watching. I watch it with the fam. We all love it.
So we got Austin Thud Hubbard versus Kurt the Hoof Holub.
Are you making up nicknames?
Yeah, we're going for it. We got Kurt's going to be 7 years older. He's going to have a 1-inch height advantage, a 2-inch reach advantage. And I think he's got a distinct advantage in the finishing potential in this matchup. That's his name.
Yeah, why?
Yeah, because it is. I don't know.
But that's so bad.
So Kurt, I think, is going to be I think he's going to be the more explosive and dangerous fighter in this matchup. I think Hubbard's kind of a guy that builds as he goes. Able to kind of use his striking, has a bit of offensive wrestling, but doesn't really have great defensive wrestling. I really, for a guy that has just about as many decision wins as finish wins on the regional scene, I definitely like a guy that's gotten a lot more finishes than Kurt Holub. I'm getting him at dog price. He's going to be the bigger guy. I think he's the better fighter in this matchup. I definitely got Kurt Holub. So appreciate you, Amber. Catch you later. Appreciate you. So what do you got here, Guru? Who are you going with? I got a dog shot on Kurt Holub, plus 150.
Have you seen the fight from the Ultimate Fighter yet, or no? Honestly,
The last one for Kurt, I saw that. I didn't bother
versus
watching. Yeah, versus
when Kurt beat the piss out of
yes.
what's his face.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
That's kind of the fight that really he beat the piss out of Jason Knight. That's kind of the fight that really put me on Holub here. His striking looked so crisp in that fight. Yeah, Knight is somebody that doesn't really have much striking defense or head movement. But Holub in that fight showed at least a well-roundedness and a comfortability in the striking when you're not he's a fucking mule. You're not taking him down. Like that's just not, you're gonna have to really struggle to do that, man. You know, you look at how his losses, right? Hani Barcelos, Shane Burgos, Thiago Moises. I mean, these guys are like, we're floating near the top 15 of the division, especially when he fought them. So Austin Hubbard is a guy that you watched fight Roosevelt Roberts on Tough. And did he even win that fight? I thought he won rounds 1 and 2. But man, like, is he just like laying, praying, and weak strikes and tons of leg kicks, which is fine. But it's just like, is that going to win you a fight? Is that going to be enough? And I'm not sure. I think Kurt is a chiseled and grizzled vet here. And he's gonna, like I said, a fucking mule, man. I think he's just gonna come out and be tough for Hubbard. And I like Kurt. I thought the fight would be way closer in odds. I was shocked to see plus 150. So I jumped on that with you, TB. I was just really impressed with what I saw from Kurt on The Ultimate Fighter. And I'm not so impressed with what I've seen from Hubbard on The Ultimate Fighter. And I'm not impressed with what he did with his time off. He lost to Vink Pichel in 2021. He beats my boy Julian Lane. Fucking let me bang, bro. The tough legend. The bare knuckle FC guy. I mean, willing to go to Russia and get fucking KO'd over there. I mean, a guy that's just a nut. And then he beats a guy in Keegan Agnew who's 5-0. He hasn't done much. I'm not sure how much he's improved or advanced. Somebody like Kurt losing to the highest level, winning both fights that he had fairly quickly, and then probably was struggling to get a fight. Gets a chance here on The Ultimate Fighter. I like it. Crazy that, by the way, we'll just highlight this really fast and then we'll move on. Just weird that his Dana White Contender Series fight in season 1 for Kurt gets overturned due to illegal IV usage on his part. One of those like really weird stains on a guy's career, because it's rare that you see that or get caught like that. So just an interesting no contest on his career.
Kurt, the rehydration Holub.
That's funny.
All right. So fair enough. We got a dog shot. We're moving on to our next tough matchup. We've got Brad Superman Katona versus Cody the Renegade Gibson. I mean, Katona here is going to be 4 years younger, giving up 1 inch of height. 6.5 inch reach advantage for Mr. Gibson. But Brad Katona, I think he's got the much clearer path to victory if he can get his offensive wrestling going. And I think, his striking is serviceable enough and he's seasoned enough to get there. Gibson, he does have some decent size and he's, I would say he's opportunistic, but I like Katona to kind of grind it out here. And, minus 175 now, line sliding a little bit. So I'll take Katona. I like that.
Oh God. So Brad Katona is such a little diva, interesting personality guy, right? A guy that I don't think anybody really liked on The Ultimate Fighter. If you watched the show, Cody Gibson, seemingly a much more likable, interesting individual. Battled through what was the ligament? LCL tear, TB, MCL, partial MCL tear. Battles through the show with it. Obviously, He didn't get surgery on it and still didn't, because if he got surgery on it, he wouldn't be fighting Brad Katona. So I have no idea where his knee is at, and I'm wondering if anybody asked a question about it during media day. Like, I didn't see anything. But it's something I'm absolutely going to be looking at on any way I can get a glimpse into it. That's something I'm going to be looking at. Otherwise, I think you're right, TB. Brad Katona is just he's kind of what Cody was saying on the show. He's a crotch sniffer. He's very defensively sound. He's not gonna make a mistake, and he just wants to get in there and hug you and bring you down and control the fight. And I'm not necessarily sure that Cody's gonna be able to keep him off of him, because Brad is like a fucking pit bull. He's relentless. I really like Cody's size. I just when you have to win by finish more often than not, and Brad is just somebody that's so fucking tough and really not been finished, you're just gonna have to go out there and outwork him and stay on the feet. So, not convinced he can do it. So I not a fight that I even love betting on, though. Either way, I guess you got to probably take Brad by decision, but it doesn't like you know what I mean? It doesn't grease my wheel. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. You just went up like 10 octaves and just like got stuck on repeat for a second. I don't know what happened there. Okay, fair enough.
It doesn't grease my wheels. Doesn't excite me.
Okay. Well,
does it excite you? Is this an exciting fight for you to bet on?
Well, what I was thinking potentially is that I've got 4 submission losses on Cody Gibson's side, and Brad Katona, he's only got 1 win by knockout, but he's got 3 submissions, and Gibson's lost a few by submission. If there was going to be a finish on the Katona side, you know, what if there was a crazy number on like a Katona submission? But I don't have any lines on that yet, so that would be the only. But I mean, decision is the one that just makes most sense. That's how most of his wins come. Gibson's lost 4 decisions, so it's not like he can't make it the distance and lose. So, yeah, I'll just take like Katona. You know, I don't know how much I'll really be playing it, but that's my pick for this fight. At minus 175, you could probably find something of value to get there. Maybe if you want to throw Ian Garry and try to make it
maybe an over one. No, I think you could do Brad Katona and over 1.5.
Okay, not bad.
But
I like that.
Yeah,
I think Cody will be tough early.
Cody is certainly tough.
We got Andre Petrovsky versus Gerald GM3 Meerschaert. Andre Petrovsky, man, pretty solid fighter. He's gonna be 3 years younger. He's given up 1 inch of height. Gerald's gonna have also a 4.5-inch reach advantage. Gerald the southpaw. You know, I would say if this fight takes place at distance, like Gerald might be like the better technical striker if it stays clean. But basically, like Petrovsky's one of those guys. I don't think he's one of those one-hitter quitters on the feet. I think, you know, it's very clear he's looking to get into the grappling. Good wrestler, good top control, wash, rinse, repeat. You know, I was kind of considering Gerald as the dog. He looks to be in good shape again. It's just, I think Guru's got a better idea for the bet here. So go ahead. I like your analysis on this one, my friend.
I appreciate that, man. So it was just like, again, I was kind of considering the same thing. It's like Andre Petrovsky, like, is he starting to get like this sort of recency bias to him? Has he earned the price tag? Yeah, he's got 4 wins, and you know, the 3 of them by finish. But it's like, who's he beat? Michael Gilmore, Yao Zhang Hu, Nick Maximov, and now Wellington Turman. Another, the last of which he was heavily favored. So it's like, Gerald Meerschaert, a guy that gets knocked out in his last fight by Joe Pyfer. You understand that. Petrovsky certainly doesn't have the physical tools and skill set that Joe Pyfer has, and especially with the power striking. I mean, my goodness. So does Gerald Meerschaert get bonked early, right? Finished by Joe Pyfer round 1, finished by Hamzat Chimaev in 17 seconds, finished by Jack Hermanson in round 1, Thiago Santos round 2, Ian Heinich round 1. So he's been finished. It's just, does Andre Petrovsky have that type of striking power? I'm not necessarily convinced that he does. So what I do like in this fight is I like the over 1.5 at -130. It's now -140, by the way, which is very irritating. So
Yeah.
I don't like it as much.
You're
Hopefully,
always...
I mean, I just don't. I mean, hopefully FanDuel will give me a line at some point that I can work with. But yeah, I mean, -140 isn't as bad as it could be, I suppose. But I do still like the over 1.5 because I just don't think that either guy is necessarily going to get the finish within the first 7 minutes of the fight. I think either guy needs a submission, and I think that will take the other one getting tired or hurt. And like I said, I think that's going to take some time.
Hey, listen here, man. Appreciate you, but circumstances in life are circumstances in life. If I had the big bucks to continue placing down for bets, just got to kind of look at things in a realistic landscape. I have a certain amount in the betting account. You want to make it last a certain amount because things out there in the real world, man, back in school, real stuff happening. Yeah, dude,
sure.
Sometimes $10 bets happen. We don't unit shame out here. Whatever you want to throw, whatever makes you comfortable. But the biggest thing is like, gamble responsibly. Whatever you can afford to lose on a week-to-week basis, that's what you should be putting up. So, hey, man, I get it. Real is real, though. The thing is, we're just going to keep on betting what we bet. And appreciate you, Zach, because if anyone's throwing down big units, it's our boy Zach out here. But does he still think we're real G's out here breaking down fights and have a real love for the game, big-time analysis? But I will say you did say we're great, so I do appreciate you, man. Thanks for
we do. We appreciate you being here. And yeah, we always preach, like you're saying, TB. It's like bankroll management is the most important thing. Because you're gonna blow through a bankroll, you're gonna blow through it twice. Like, you gotta learn how to manage your bets and make it so you don't have to deposit each week, man. That's the name of the game. We just want to be able to bet whenever we want to bet, man. If we're able to withdraw and take your girl out, buy yourself something, God bless. I mean, you're talking about less than 5% of gamblers that actually like make real money doing it. It's very rare, man. It's really rare. Sports gambling is one of the toughest things that you can do. So break even betting is fire. No. So no, we're not like we don't like fuck with anybody. Like, we're not trying to make fun of anybody for like not betting so much. I mean, I'll bet $50 or $100. You know what I mean? Like, well, we'll put some money down, but it's just when and where. We gotta find the right spots.
Listen, I had a whole $30 on Eduardo Moroz straight up. All right, I know when to throw
a girl that we had, and you watched no tape on. You just saw them face off, and you're like, "This is ridiculous."
Yeah.
So that's a ballsy bet. Yeah, we appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you too. No, that's all we're saying. Appreciate you because you're out here. You're joining the show. You're part of the community, man. We appreciate you. So
we wouldn't want anybody else to think that we're not putting. Because that's the other thing. Like, we put so much time and work into it that we can't get too caught up in putting big chunks of change and then be like, what are we doing this for? Like, we have to stay consistent with what we do so we continue to do this. And hey, making a little extra money on the side is just icing on the cake.
Hell yeah.
We like being right, and we like talking about fights. That's really why we do it. And we love doing the show with you guys.
Oh yeah. We love doing the show for Andrea KGB Nazi Lee.
The Nazi sympathizer.
Versus, no, I mean, she's got a pattern now. She's not even a sympathizer. She's part of the party.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that versus Natalia, the Mensch Silva. Or at least she's going to be once she finishes Andrea Lee.
Good point.
Yeah. Well, let me put it this way. It's like,
put it to me this way.
Oh, baby. Listen, the path to victory is like, oh, if Andrea Lee could just get her wrestling going. It's like Jasmine Jazz Davicius couldn't get her wrestling going.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. And then Andrea Lee, though, I mean, listen, she has like a little bit of success here and there against Macy Barber, but I think Silva is just a bit more technical, faster, better athlete, and proven to have really stepped up her game in recent memory. I think she's
Yeah.
going to either outpoint to a decision or find a finish somewhere along
I
the
think
way.
she finds the finish. I think she finds
But
a finish.
I keep on saying that about Andrea Lee fights, but she's only ever been finished one time by submission. So it's not like she's out here losing at a high rate. And we're talking about a women's fight,
Yeah.
right? Like, what did you just teach me last
She's
week
so tough.
about Jacqueline Amorim? You know, so but hey, listen, the under 2.5 is plus 154, so it's not like we're playing chalk, right?
What's her by finish? That's what I would sooner play.
Right.
I just don't think so. Like, let me put it to you this way in terms of at least just breaking down the fight. I put out a poll on Twitter today, which got like over 100 votes so far. So I'm hoping it still continues to get more votes. I said, who is the sketchiest favorite on the card? I put 4 fighters on there. I did not include Natalia Silva at minus 355. This is about as big of a lock as Ian Garry. She's a slip on a banana peel type loss. Like, you got to parlay her and Ian Garry to everything. She's gonna win.
Yep.
She's just savage.
So I got Natalia Silva minus 355 parlayed to Ian Garry at minus 355.
Machado Garry.
Ian Machado Garry. I got him a couple times over. So pulled the trigger a couple times before the line got too wide on Saturday. If you're gonna do anything on like these big favorites, you got to do it on like before Sunday morning, because that's when the lines really start taking a hit. When everyone
Sunday. Okay. You mean the night the week before the fights happen?
Yes.
So Sunday morning, not when the fights are over, obviously.
Right. Like I'm talking about looking ahead to next week. If you're waiting till Sunday morning on a big favorite.
And here's the example. And here's literally the example. TB parlayed Ian Garry under sub minus 300, minus 295, whatever the fuck it was, Saturday night when we were watching the fights. And I'm like, oh, I'm about to do that too. But I forgot to and woke up Sunday morning remembering, oh, let me just go do that. The line was no longer there. And we've seen that not just last week. We have now seen that as a consistent thread, like TB saying, with those heavy favorites. The good ones, they continue to get steamed. People are looking. As soon as the sharps, whoever the line movers are, as soon as they get their money back Saturday night when the fights are over, that's what they do. I'm telling you. They just go back and they fire right away on the lines they like for next week.
Fire away.
Let's finish this up, baby. The rematch that everybody's been clamoring for to open up this card.
We've got Carini Killer Fro Silva versus Marina, the Iron Lady of OnlyFans, Moroz.
Damn. She actually doesn't do OnlyFans. She does Playboy.
Oh, baby. I thought she does both.
Nope. Oh, maybe. No. Yes. No. Yes. I don't think so.
Yes.
So you subscribed. My bad.
Yeah. Come on. I've been killing out.
How are you gonna I pay $6.97 a month for this shit. You're going to tell me it's not real?
Oh, God.
You're caught, bro. You're caught.
If we're going to judge this just by the size of the hair, I mean, Carini's got the clear path to victory. But let's break down this matchup. So Silva's going to be 2 years younger. She's giving up 2 inches of height. They have the same reach. I think Silva has shown that she's a bit more aggressive and probably a little bit better athlete overall. I mean, she just crashes into the pocket in their first matchup and gets the fight, quote unquote, where she wants it, until she realizes, wait, I never drilled armbar defense. Marina Moroz, she's never been finished. I think that's something that's going to hold true here. And I don't think that Silva is going to be so easy to finish this time. And I haven't really seen like a high level striking, like finishing potential from Moroz. Like, she's a solid enough striker, but it's all kind of like attritional and like building to, I mean, she's got 6 times the amount of submission wins than knockouts. But I don't think she's getting the repeat submission on Silva. I think this fight is another one that's going to go the distance. More often than not, their fights have gone for Marina Moroz. And Silva, although she does have a few finish losses, I mean, a couple of those submissions were like, we're talking like 9 years ago, 7 years ago. I think she's really matured in her grappling game since then. I think Moroz is going to be extremely difficult to finish. That, and she's taking a step down from a matchup like Jennifer Maia. I kind of got Marina Moroz by money line and going the distance here. So I'll take the plus 124 because I feel like it should at least be even here, right?
Yeah, wow. We kind of seen almost every fight, but I think the same here. Yeah, I mean, Marina Moroz is somebody. I think this is a very close fight, and as you've seen this line get closer and closer to pick 'em, because that's kind of where it belongs. Moroz is somebody that's fought a much higher level of competition, former tighter challenger Jennifer Maia, who is, an unbelievable multi-level striker, and Karina Silva is not that. She's dangerous and she's reckless and she's strong and she's a killer herself, right? But you haven't seen her fight anybody close to this level yet. So it's a very interesting fight. Can't necessarily play the favorite on it. And yeah, I don't necessarily love that a lot of people think that the fight's not going to go the distance. Like I kind of think, like you're saying, that more often than not, the fight does go the distance because Moroz is not only somebody very difficult to finish, but not necessarily somebody that's always getting a lot of finishes unless it's by submission. So I agree with your whole sentiment there. I just wish I got that line. She was plus 130 forever. I don't know why. Again, I continued to wait, and now it's plus 124. I'm trying to see if I can find it somewhere. No, it's plus. Oh, it's almost. I think it's plus 125 or 24 universally, which is just slight bummer on my end.
All right. Well,
but hey, we're all right. We'll survive another day. 6 cents is not the biggest deal.
Nah, we'll make it. But hey, listen, thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate all you guys in the chat. If you haven't already, please throw a like. Please subscribe. Always free content. Yeah, just one of them shows. Felt like a good one. What do you think, Guru? Take us away.
Take me away. Yeah, I was a little off the rails tonight. I think it was yeah, just looking for my words tonight. It was a fun one. I really, really had a great time. TB, thanks for putting up with me. Everybody in the chat, thanks for hanging out. Make sure you're following my boy TB Scouting MMA on Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, and Tapology. Thank you, Dirty Greg. Appreciate you. Make sure you're following me, the Guru Scouting MMA, Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, and Tapology. What an amazing card. What a sick way to finish off the summer. We are back next week for the 5 a.m. card from Singapore. Max Holloway taking on Korean Zombie in his retirement fight. Should have a banger of a guest on for that one. So make sure you're there, 8 p.m. Wednesday. And of course, hey, if you're not somehow checking out our Dana White Contender Series content, I don't know. Listen, we went off to a rough one on week 1. Last week, baby, 4-0 on our picks. And man, we were so close to picking Al Sawadi. Like, we really, really were. We sniffed it. We smelled it. We said, don't play the money line. We said, no way. Man, oh man, were we close to picking that one. We really didn't even submit an official pick. I'm giving us the 4-0. I really am.
Hell yeah. I said there's no need on that one. But hey, appreciate it.
We'll take it. So, hey, Monday, 9 o'clock, Wednesday, 8 o'clock. Be there, be square. Appreciate you.